Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing The Devil in a Blue Dress. Came out in 1995 and was directed by Carl Franklin and stars Denzel Washington, Tom Sizemore, Jennifer Beals and an early performance by Don Cheadle. The film is set in 1948 in LA and focuses on Ezekiel Easy Rollins, an African-American World War II veteran who's looking for work. At a friend's bar he's introduced to a white man, DeWitt Albright, who is looking for someone to help him find a missing white woman, assumed to be hiding somewhere in the LA's black community. This woman, Daphne Monet, happens to be the fiancée of a wealthy blue blood Todd Carter, who is currently in the favor in the city's majority race. Daphne Monet is known to frequent the black jazz clubs in the LA. Easy innocently accepts Albright's offer. However, he quickly finds himself amidst murder, corrupt cops, ruthless politicians and brutalizing hoodlums. This is a Chandler-esque whodunit with an African-American theme. I'm a big fan of this film. I like anything that's noir or detective related, private detective related, and this has those elements. I really thought Denzel Washington was fantastic in this. You really felt like he was hungry. He was really out there. The stuff he was doing in the scenes was really impressive, and I really loved his performance. And playing Easy, such a fascinating character. He's this man who owns his own home. He's a man who wants to make his own way in the world. And he has a mortgage and he doesn't want to lose his house, so he's desperately trying to find work. But he's not treated properly in the jobs that he's ultimately being fired from. When this opportunity arises from DeWitt, he's hesitant to take it, but he knows he needs the money, so he does it. He thinks it's a simple thing that he's just ultimately have to find Daphne, this woman who's disappeared. And that's all he has to do, is find her and let DeWitt knows where she is. But it isn't that easy, it isn't that simple. Things started to get out of hand when people are being murdered and fingers are pointing at him, and he's trying to keep his head above water. He goes into it blindly and quickly learns that he needs to become a lot smarter than the people he's dealing with. So he ultimately turns tables on things and becomes this detective and this person who's trying to find out the truth, and is trying to be ahead of things rather than being caught up in them or behind what's going on. And that makes a really fascinating, interesting character and storyline. Jennifer Beals is solid in it. She's sort of the quote-unquote femme fatale kind of character that he's ultimately looking for, but she's not quite what she seems, and she's embroiled in something that Easy doesn't really realize or doesn't know until it's too late. And he's already involved in it himself. Tom Sizemore plays DeWitt. Tom Sizemore is really good at playing sort of shifty and sort of strange and unique characters. And DeWitt's such a great example of that. He has so much fun in him. He plays in such a way you know this character isn't really good or a good person and does bad things, but you feel for Easy because you want him to be able to afford his mortgage and afford to live. And you're with him when he takes that opportunity to do that. And this is the first film that Don Cheadle did. And he was just hungry for it. He was stealing the scenes, he was eating the scenery. Every time he popped up on screen, you were wondering what he would do next. He plays a character that's sort of unpredictable. And I think Cheadle added a lot to that unpredictability and crafted a really fascinating character who's Easy's friend, but he's the type of friend you don't always want around. He's a guy that gets into a lot of trouble and can get people into trouble. But Easy knows he needs him, so he becomes part of this whole thing that's going on, which I really like too. And the chemistry between Cheadle and Denzel Washington is fantastic on screen as well. Like I said in the intro, it sort of has a Raymond Chandler feel about it. It has this idea that we're focused on this guy, and everything he sees, we see, but everything he learns, we learn. We don't learn anything before he does. So it really puts you in an interesting position to follow this guy all the way through. He's the eyes into the world. He's the one telling the story that unfolds before our eyes. And we're just with him, and we're only revealing information that is important to what he needs to know and what's going on, which keeps a mystery throughout the whole thing, which I really loved. I like that aspect to the film. I like the look and feel of it. I love that they captured this sort of, the late 40s in this film. I like where they chose to shoot and the house that he lives in. I like that he's this man who wants to own his own things. He wants to be his own person. He doesn't want to be controlled. He doesn't want to live on the streets. He wants to be able to live the life he wants to live. And I think Denzel has a great way of expressing that on screen and does a really great job with Easy in so many ways. The sequences that sort of stand out for me are when he first goes to this black jazz club that's sort of hidden away upstairs. I kind of like that. You get to see, he sort of changes when he goes in there. We meet him, he's sort of this softer sort of spoken guy who's just trying to do the right thing. But when he ends up at the club, he sort of resorts back to who he was before he started living the life he's living now. And the way he talks to people and the way he drops information where he's trying to find people, and just I love the club and the dancing and the music and the sequences that take place in that are really brilliant. I like he's a character who doesn't, people don't take him for a ride. He quickly works out what's going on and he adjusts to what's happening. I kind of like that. And I like the fact that the character wasn't obsessed with finding Daphne, and when he meets her, he's not obsessed with her, but it's really about doing the right thing. And when he finds out what she's mixed up in, he really tries his hardest to help her get out of it and help her survive what's going on and get down to the bottom of what's really happening. I think it has a really nice sort of ending where he's sort of trying to work out what to do, and he starts to think of going into business for himself as a private eye. And I would love to have seen more movies on this, or I'd love to read the books that this is based on. I'm a huge Raymond Chandler fan. I love the detective genre and the noir genre, so this was right down my alley. I love the performances. I like the feel and the look of the place. I like when he starts to put things together and take charge. He puts on this really nice suit and he goes in to see Todd Carter, this guy who is not what he seems either. No one in the film is really what they seem except for Easy. And he puts on this front and he takes charge. I really like those elements to it. You just really feel that he's starting to come to terms with what's going on and he's not taking the shit anymore. He's going to do what's right. And like I said, Don Cheadle, every scene he's in is just fantastic. You really feel he's unpredictable and a crazy character that you don't want to know what he's going to do next. And he has this air about him that people are scared of him. They don't know what he's going to do or say or how he's going to act next. And for a guy that's not very tall, he sort of creates this menacing feel. And even Easy's sort of a bit weary of him as well, because he got into trouble many years ago and involving the death of a couple of people that everyone talks about now. And he just sort of is this character that he does bad things because he does bad things. You know what I mean? He is that sort of guy. He doesn't see anything wrong with what he's doing. He just does it. And Easy's so different to that and doesn't want violence and death and destruction. But this character is like that and even questions why he's friends with him. But sometimes you need a friend like that. Someone who will just be there when you want them to be. They don't do things exactly right and they're not the type of person you want to hang around with all the time. But they are someone that you can call on if you're really in trouble. And I think that was really what this character was all about. I like the mystery, the twists and turns in it. I like the information. They leave us information so we can try and work things out for ourselves, which I really liked. And it's just a well orchestrated and made film that is elevated from these sort of these noir films into something better with the choice of casting and the fact of the actors and the performance that they give and the world we're introduced to. I really just thought it was fantastic and one of the best I've seen. Final thoughts. At the heart, it's really about a man trying to make his way in the world on his own terms and live the life he wants to. And sometimes he has to sacrifice these things. Sometimes he has to go against what he truly believes in order to get through what's happening to him at that point in time. It looks at how sometimes we have a friend and that friend isn't someone you want to be around all the time. They're either violent or do something wrong or sort of frustrating some form. But you know if you're in trouble, they're the person to call. It looks at how people are complicated and people make decisions based on what's happening. People do things in order to do what they feel is right, but that sometimes can compromise people and that can compromise the person that they are. And sometimes they can go through that and end up in a better place on the other side. I'm going to give Devil in a Blue Dress 4 out of 5. I thought it was really well done and put together. The acting was brilliant. I like the twists and turns in the story. I like it was a sort of throwback to the classic noir detective tales that came out of the 40s. And I just think overall it was just a fascinating and entertaining film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.